Hey guys, Ginger here. Welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to be doing a tag, and it is called A Few of My Favorite Things. I was looking for something to do because I had a few blanks on video ideas, and I came across this tag that someone did on their blog, so I will link that down below, but I modified it a little bit to fit my needs, and so we are going to be talking about some of my favorite things today, and hopefully this will be fun because it looked fun to me. So there are 12 questions on this tag, and they're all about my favorite books or books that I really liked. So we will just go ahead and start with number 1. The first prompt is a book that you have read more than once. And this is easy for me. This is the Warrior series by Aaron Hunter, specifically the first series in the entire collection. I've read this particular one, I think 4 times now. If you can see the spine of the book on this one, it's pretty beat up, as is the whole entire first series, because I've read them over and over again, and I am planning to do another reread of them this year, so they're gonna get even more beat up, except I'll be doing the whole series, whole collection, so that's over 30 books, as the year goes on. Next is a book that I would take on a desert island, and this one is not really cheating, but it's a very big book, and you're gonna see why I picked it in a second. If I was abandoned on a desert island, I would definitely be taking this giant animal book with me, which is just, for one, so gorgeous, but for two, has a whole bunch of species of insects, birds, mammals, and if I was on a desert island, I'm sure there would be some sort of wildlife on there, and this might come in handy for identifying. The next best one would probably be a plant book, but I don't own plant books because I'm not really good at plants, just animals. But I've had that book for so long, and I love it, and I literally need to do a flip through of it again because that's something I would do when I was younger. I would just flip through the book and look at all the pretty pictures and all the animals. Next is a book that made me cry. There are a couple that I could pick, but one that stands out to me is one that I read earlier this year, actually. And that is Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. This one made me bawl like a baby, but it was so good, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I read this for Romance Readathon in February, and I'm so glad that I did. I ended up getting a copy for myself, but this is about our main characters, Macy and Elliot, and takes place in the past, in the present, and pretty much it's a rekindling of love story, and oh, it was so good, but definitely made me cry. Then we have a book that scared me. I don't know if I've actually been scared of any books. Probably a thriller book now that I'm thinking about it, because they are a lot more realistic, and sometimes they mess me up with just mostly like the cheating or the, I don't know, just relationship problems that go on in them. So let me see if I have one I can pick out. I really can't. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not really easily scared. So I'm gonna change this prompt to a book that made me really angry. For a good reason. I mean, not a good reason, but the book was a 5 out of 5 stars. It just made me so mad. And that is That Night by Chevy Stevens. This made me mad because we are following a main character who has been sentenced to jail for a crime that she didn't commit, and the way that Chevy Stevens writes this novel with the other characters' interactions with our main character just made me so mad, and like I felt for our main character. And so this made me really mad, but for good reasons, because it was just written so well that I genuinely was like really upset that our main character was going through this stuff. So instead of scared, we're gonna go with angry. Then we have a book that made me laugh out loud, and this one is also pretty easy because one of my favorite books this year definitely made me laugh out loud a couple of times. And that is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I think it was like page 7, and I already was laughing out loud by some of the banter and the dialogue that was going on in this book. So I loved this book, and I'll talk about it more later on in one of my videos, but this one definitely made me laugh out loud. A book I loved as a child. Oh, I really loved Chicka Chicka Boom Boom. I could read that one over and over again when I was little. It was just so fun and colorful. I think that was the main thing. And when I was a baby, I loved to read, and my mom has videos of me like making weird noises trying to read little books, but that's one I remember liking from my childhood. Also, we read a lot of the Berenstain Bear books, so those would be favorites from my childhood, and hopefully I will be able to read some of those to my kids one day. Then a book that I read in high school that I loved, probably Of Mice and Men, honestly. That was my favorite classic that we read, and it still sticks with me, and I just think that it was a book that really made you think about just society and social norms and all that kind of stuff. And obviously it's so outdated, but I think John Steinbeck did a really good job in that, and that's one that always comes to mind when I think of my high school reads. But I'm sure there are other ones that I read that I enjoyed. That one's just obviously the one that comes to mind. Then we are going to talk about my favorite books and each genre that they have on here. So this should be interesting, not gonna lie. First one is my favorite fantasy. Oh boy, I have a lot of favorite fantasies. I have a large collection of high fantasies out in the other room, but I haven't really read most of them. And The Eye of the World I only gave a 4.5, not a 5, so technically it's not my favorite. But which one is my favorite? I hate doing favorite videos because I am not someone who just has like one specific favorite. I have so many favorites, so let's see if I can just pick one of my favorites to talk about. Okay, we're gonna have to mess up my bookshelves here. So this one is, they don't have a separate category for sci-fi, so this one's like fantasy and sci-fi, and that's Cinder by Marissa Meyer. I read the whole Lunar Chronicles this year. I reread Cinder, but I read the rest of them. And pretty much the Lunar Chronicles is one of my all-time favorite series. I love them. And they have new covers out, guys. I need them. But I'm not gonna pay for them right now because I have this one. But I love this. It is a retelling of Cinderella, and each of the other books in the series are retellings of other fairy tales, and just the spins that Marissa Meyer does with these characters is so great, and they're just a really great crew. The overall plot is awesome, so this is probably really up there with being like my favorite YA fantasy series. Next we have a favorite thriller. My favorite's on the bottom of the pile. Oh no. I've talked about this one many a time. I'm not going to get it off from under the pile. I'll just put it here. But that is All Is Not Forgotten by Wendy Walker. This one just was so good. It's psychological and kind of realistic. And I mean, it is realistic. It's scarily realistic. And it's just such a good thriller in my opinion. But I do have like nostalgia for it because it was my first ever arc. So like maybe that plays into it, but every time someone asks me what my favorite thriller is, that one pops into my head, so that's my answer. Next we have my favorite contemporary. I kind of want to pick up a book I already told you, because it's like my favorite contemporary. Actually, I found another favorite. So, The Language of Flowers by Vanessa Diffenbaugh. I didn't think I would like this. I picked it up on a whim at Goodwill, because it was a really pretty cover and it was short and it seemed interesting, and I adored it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. But this follows our main character Victoria, and she's an outcast kind of. She's been in foster home, she's been an orphan, and this is kind of just about her journey finding herself and becoming who she is, and it deals a lot with plants, and she uses flowers to best represent herself pretty much. And I just thought this was a really good book and I would highly recommend it. It's not one that's talked about a lot, but it was really impactful and I enjoyed the entire journey. Then we have my favorite nonfiction. This one is also pretty easy, but I do have a lot of nonfictions that I enjoyed. This is one that again just stands out when I hear this, and that is American Wolf by Nate Blakeslee. This is a I can't think of the right word. I guess it's just a story, but it's talking about the wolves of Yellowstone through someone's experiences who studies them. And as a biology teacher, I found this really impactful. I think that Yellowstone is such a gorgeous place. I've been there once before, and I got this as an ARC, and I was so thankful, and I love this. It's one of my favorite nonfictions, and I'm definitely going to be incorporating this into my biology classroom one day because it is just really powerful, and I think that more young kids should be reading, and if I tie it into my curriculum, I can make it work. And then my last favorite is a classic, and I already talked about Mice and Men, so what other classics have I liked? I guess one classic that I really enjoyed and again was impactful for me was Night by Elie Wiesel, and this is an autobiography, I think, because he wrote it, right? This is about obviously the World War II Holocaust stuff, and it is in perspective of a survivor, and it was a really short but impactful book, and we talked a lot about the Holocaust in high school, so it's kind of overdone, but this was a part of the learning about it that I enjoyed because I was a reader, and I thought that hearing it from someone's actual perspective was really meaningful, so I guess that is one of my favorite classics. So there you have it, guys. Those are a few of my favorite things. Now I want to go watch The Sound of Music. But let me know in the comments below what some of your favorites are to these prompts, or if you share any favorites with me, I would love to know. But thank you guys again for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button to see more of my content in the upcoming month and in the far future as well. But thank you guys again, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!